It's time for the Tyson Degenhart Show with Boise State basketball star Tyson Degenhart, sponsored by Idaho Central Credit Union. Find a branch near you or get more information at iccu.com. Now, here's Tyson Degenhart with BJ Rains for another edition of the Tyson Degenhart Show on Bronco Nation News.
Now we're official. We got the intro. You know you're official when you got the intro. Episode 2 of the Tyson Degenhart Show. My name is BJ Rains. That is Tyson Degenhart. And they didn't cancel us yet, Tyson. We made it to a second episode, so we're doing okay, man. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? It's nice to be on episode 2, and we made it. I think we made it farther than the Barstool show that was on ESPN like 6 or 7 years ago.
That's right.
Episode.
Dennis already chiming in. Have a great show, Tyson. Looking forward to hearing from Jeramiah Dickey. And yes, our special guest on today's show is Boise State Athletic Director Jeramiah Dickey. Tyson, you went one-on-one earlier this afternoon, just about 3 hours ago. Jeramiah was unavailable at 8 o'clock tonight, so we did tape the interview, but 38 minutes almost. Nice, encompassing interview that we'll hear here in about 5 minutes or so. But one-on-one with Jeramiah Dickey, what'd you think of the interview?
It went better than expected, with the first time actually being like face-to-face with someone. It went really well, and Mr. Dickey was very, very kind to do the interview, and it just went really smoothly. We had a lot to talk about. Just a great interview. Got to talk more about his personal life and just got to know him a little bit better, and my respect went up for him after hearing some of his stories. So you'll have to wait and listen to the interview coming up very soon.
Sam says that's the new tagline for the show. More episodes than the Barstool Show. So there we go, Tyson. Hey, this show is possible thanks to our friends at Idaho Central Credit Union. They are sponsoring this show. You see Tyson's shirt there. This show is being done through an NIL deal with ICCU. So we are very appreciative, very thankful of our friends at Idaho Central Credit Union. Find a branch near you. There more than 550,000 Idahoans have made the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union. It's the easiest banking you'll ever find. The eBranch mobile online banking. I was moving some money around today. Even went into a branch, Tyson, and got some $101 bills and some $2 bills for some tips for the wife and I's trip to Mexico coming up this weekend. So whatever your banking needs are, Idaho Central Credit Union can take care of you, and we thank them for sponsoring the Tyson Degenhart Show. And you're actually heading up this weekend as part of your deal with them, right, to back home?
Yeah, so this upcoming weekend in Spokane, it's called Hoop Fest. It's like the biggest 3-on-3 outdoor tournament, and so basically all of downtown is shut down, and so you're playing out in the middle of the street. You got wooden backboards and just playing out in the road, and it's a very, very cool experience. I haven't been there since I think my sophomore year of high school, just to be around it. So it's just gonna be a fun weekend just to be in the ICCU booth for a couple hours, and then get to go see all my friends and family playing some games.
Hey, get your comments in, get your thoughts, your questions for Tyson, the ICCU YouTube chat. We'd love to hear from you. We got a good crowd joining us now as we get ready to hear from Jeramiah Dickey here in a couple of minutes, the Boise State Athletic Director. Let us know your thoughts. Bill says he's excited for episode 2. Ronald says, go Broncos. This person was at camp today. He says, thoughts on Johnny, the free throw champ today?
Oh, that was awesome. That was easily one of the coolest things to be a part of camp and have, these little 6 and 7 year olds go up against the closer to high school, and just to win the free throw contest with that much noise going on and him continuing to make shot after shot was pretty incredible. And I was able to actually, when he made the shot, I was able to hoist him up, kind of like the Lion King. And it was just a really cool experience, and really happy to be a part of it.
So the team is back. I guess Roddy Anderson is landing tonight, or has landed in Boise already any minute as we speak. And he was the final piece. He had to finish up his schoolwork to kind of have a late semester there at UC San Diego. But we saw Cam Martin. We've seen Omar Stanley, all the newcomers, the freshmen, Andrew Meadow, Chris Lockett. You guys are all working the basketball camp this week. You started the individual workouts, the weightlifting program as well. What's it like to have the team together back in Boise, man, and start the summer workouts and really start to officially get set to take a run at this thing?
It's been great to have everyone, get back on campus. For the outside world, the summer's probably one of the most important times of the year, just to get that bonding, that team camaraderie together. You can go through a lot of practices throughout the year, but this summertime is where you spend a lot of time because we don't have as many hours we can work out during the week. And so we get to spend a lot of time together, working camps and doing those kind of things. So it should be a really exciting group. And just after these first 2 days of, being in the weight room with these guys, we have a great group, and there's a lot of great vibes this week. And so can't wait for the season to come.
What's been your early impressions, man? Any of the newcomers, the freshmen, the transfers, any of the returners that look, bigger and better? What's your early impressions of some of the guys on the team, man?
I think one guy that to look out for this year is Omar Stanley. I mean, that guy is an athletic freak and should really help us on the defensive end. Cam Martin's been shooting the ball really well this summer, and excited to see him help us stretch the floor and make us even harder to guard. And then Andrew and Chris have both been very, very good this summer, and really impressed me just coming in, being ready to go and having their bodies ready to go. So it's been great so far, and we're just hoping to keep build day after day.
Well, we did get the news from Leon Rice. Tyson, was officially announced last week. You guys are going to be going to Canada later this summer to play 3 games. 4 and 2 are to Canada, 2 games in Vancouver, 1 game in another town in Canada as well. Talk about that, man. What's the feeling like for you guys as a team to be going to Canada and knowing you've got that coming? You get the 10 practices, over the summer, and then 3 games. What's the excitement level for that? And when you guys heard about that, I guess your thoughts to help you guys kind of jumpstart going into the season.
I think it's just a great experience for such a new group of guys. Like, I remember the last 2 summers, we kind of had a decent chunk of our core back. There weren't too many new pieces, but with this new team, we've had about half of them are new. And so this is a great opportunity for us to gel and bond and have this time in the summer to travel, one, and also get to play some games and, get our legs underneath us, at least in August. And then that'll help us keep building in September and October. And come November, we should be ready to go, just having a couple games under our belts and being able to travel with each other and just, building that team camaraderie, throughout that trip.
Couple of comments, and again, questions, comments for Tyson. Get them in on the ICCU YouTube chat. Dayton excited to see the new group on the court this year. Chris Lockett is the coolest dude that I've ever met. Let's see. A lot of other good comments. Eric wondering how the golf game is going right now, by the way.
It's getting better. Last round I played with my grandpa back in Spokane about 2 weeks ago, and I was hitting the ball a lot better than I ever have. So we're hoping to keep that trending in the right direction. But I don't hit the range enough to, keep it good enough. So
RJ Keene was talking a little trash, man, about his percentage of hitting the green versus yours at the tournament a couple weeks ago.
That's all right. He's been known to be the better golfer out of us too. So I'm working. I'll get to where he's at, but hoping to hit the ball as far as he can sooner or later.
Well, hey, man, we have obviously ICCU is the main sponsor of our program here, but I found another guy, our friend Dave over at Lean Feast, and we got him involved in this show as well. I don't know if you can tell or not, Tyson, or anybody else that's watching, but I'm actually embarrassed to admit where I started from, but since January 3rd, to now, I'm down over 40 pounds, and that is mostly thankful, at least in the last month and a half or so, to our friends at Lean Feast in Meridian. And I started with them in April, and since I started with them, I'm down over 20 pounds in like 6 weeks, man. The food is amazing. Lean Feast, it's a meal prep service, but it's fully customizable, healthy meals. And I know, Tyson, that you are now being fueled by Lean Feast. You have joined the Lean Feast team as well. Taylon Green, Ashton Genty from the football team are on there. Leanfeast.com/Meridian. Check them out. And I know you got in touch with Dave, and you've been enjoying the meals as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's just a great meal to have, with such a busy schedule, and just being able to pop in the microwave for 2 minutes and then it's ready to go. And there's so many different combinations you can do, so you're not going to get tired of one type of food. So it's been great, and just hoping to keep it going. And, knowing that we have this now, it's going to help me during the season, just making sure I stay on a consistent diet and making sure I'm eating the right things, getting proper protein and carbs and all those kinds of things.
But it's filling, right? For a guy like you. I mean, you think about a lot of these meal prep services where it's frozen food and it's not very big or good, but it's filling. I go in there myself, and you go right down the line and pick how much meat you want, how much carbs you want, how much veggies you want. I go with the cauliflower rice on the keto diet here, but you can have shrimp, steak, chicken. I think it's 12 different kinds of chicken, 6 different kinds of tri-tip, all the other options they have, whether it's ground turkey, beef. So we appreciate Lean Feast. Check them out, leanfeast.com/Meridian. We'll be telling you more about them. They're jumping on as a sponsor here of the Tyson Degenhart Show, and they're now feeding the basketball team. They're bringing meals down, Tyson, to you and your teammates, so we're excited to hear about that. There's some other sports that are already jealous and wanting to jump in as well and get some Lean Feast, so check them out, leanfeast.com/Meridian. We appreciate our friends at Lean Feast. But as I said in the open, and you see the logo there in the bottom corner, Tyson, before we get to our interview with Jeramiah Dickey here, our title sponsor, Idaho Central Credit Union, they're making this whole thing possible. We see the shirt Tyson's wearing there. They are a major sponsor, one of our biggest sponsors at Bronco Nation News. I was so happy we were able to make this all work with both sides here, but there's a branch pretty much on every corner. Check them out, Idaho Central Credit Union. We're so appreciative of them and their sponsorship of the show here in the local community. You see all the local high school gyms. They've done the downtown arena, the Boise State esports up there at University of Idaho. I mean, all the arenas around the state of Idaho and the schools and the scoreboards. Idaho Central Credit Union is pretty much. I was even at Axiom working out earlier today, Tyson, and I see the court there has got the ICCU logo. I mean, they are everywhere, and we're very appreciative of their support of the local community, but most importantly, of making this show possible. You said you'll be up in Spokane this weekend, but the Tyson Degenhart Show, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Check them out. Again, the easiest mobile e-branch online banking. More than 550,000 Idahoans have made the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union, and you can too by visiting a branch near you or checking out Idaho Central Credit Union at ICCU.com. And before we get to our interview with Jeramiah Dickey, a quick word from our friends at Idaho Central Credit Union.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Couple more comments here, Tyson, before we get to the interview. Folks are commenting on the weight loss, I guess, looking great. Our friend Clark Rasmussen, who may have had a say in this show even happening, says, I need some of that. Congrats. Dayton says you're killing it. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Chase wants to know, Tyson, if you're going to have your own special meal like Talon Green does.
We don't know yet. It definitely could be a thing. Just got to talk to Dave and, see what he thinks about it. So
I'm not blowing smoke, man. It really is like legitimately good, right?
It's good. Yeah. I had one actually before this. And so it was a good little dinner for me. And so can't complain.
Tyson, any special pregame routines they'd like to know before we get to our interview?
I'm a big nap guy. I like to take a nap before the game. I think during home games, it's, right after we eat, after shoot around. So, and then on the road, it's normally at the hotel. So I'm a big nap guy, and I really think that helps me, have the energy to keep going out in the court and just adds that little extra boost I need.
All right, Tyson, we'll let you introduce the video here and throw it to the interview. This is your show, obviously. You went one-on-one yourself, no questions from me. Last week with Leon. Oh, you know what? Before we get to the interview, I got one more clip I got to play here. We met with Leon Rice yesterday or a couple days ago, I guess it was. Now he's already in Hungary with the U19 team. But last Friday, Leon Rice met with the media, was answering some questions. My son, Naismith, was kind of hanging out in the back, half paying attention. And Leon Rice called on my son to ask a question, and here's what went down.
Naismith, any questions?
What did you think of the Tyson Degenhart show?
Oh, I thought it was terrific. That was the Tyson Degenhart. He's gonna baby Gronk. That's good. That's good. I thought it was really good. Tyson is he's one of he's a genuine person that you can have easy conversations with him. He'd be great at it. So as he gets more and more experience and just lets it go as a conversation, those are going to keep getting better and better. But I really enjoyed it. I hope people liked it because it was fun to do. Has he done the Talon one yet? No. Has he done another one yet? Oh, that's good. Did other people like it? Did they like ours?
We don't need to play the rest of it. He called my son out for not knowing what his favorite part was. But for our first guest was Leon Rice. We appreciate it. And how about Naismith coming in with the question there on what'd you think of the Tyson Degenhart show? The other media laughed. They were. This is new age here, Tyson, with the NIL deals and doing a show and things like that. But my son was ready, and he had the question there, and Leon said he enjoyed doing it. So I guess we're 1 for 1.
We are 1 for 1. He actually sent me a text earlier today saying good luck on the show. So I think he might be watching actually. So
there you go,
Coach. If you're watching, hi.
Is he commenting? What's his? We got to find out what his burner screen name is so we can see when he comments on here what it is. Maybe it's Carter Davis saying, "I love how humble Rice seems. Great coach for our b-ball team." Oh, my son just came in here, by the way. Here he is because he heard he must be downstairs watching. Naismith, say hello to everybody real quick. There he is.
Hi.
Tyson, how did Naismith do at camp today?
He did great. He got a little shot up at the buzzer and got fouled.
We don't need to talk about what happened after that, but tie game, Naismith got fouled shooting a 3. He got 3 free throws. Unfortunately, what happened, Naismith?
I missed all of them.
He missed all 3 of them. The game ended in a tie, but that's okay. As you see, he's still an all-star here. So, all right, Naismith, appreciate you for checking in, man. You'll see Tyson again tomorrow at camp. Tyson, the floor is yours here for the interview with Jeramiah Dickey. We have great viewership, actually better viewership than we had last week so far. But I will. I'm going to put you full screen here and let you introduce our guest, and then we're going to go straight into the interview with Jeramiah Dickey. Again, we taped this interview earlier today. We're going to try as many as we can to do them live, but it just didn't work out in Jeremiah's schedule, so we had to tape it. But the floor is yours, sir, for the interview with Jeramiah Dickey.
So we have a very, very special guest for this second episode, a very important guy when it comes to Boise State and Boise State athletics. So without further ado, I just want to introduce Mr. Jeramiah Dickey, the Director of Athletics at Boise State University. Mr. Dickey, Jeremiah, thank you for joining the show today. It is an honor to have you. Just want to ask, what are you up to these days with sports kind of dwindling and not much going on?
Right now, spending a lot of time with family, trying to make up for lost time, during our seasons. But as you know, we're never out of a season. So right now we're preparing for the 23-24 season. And there's a lot going on in terms of our facilities, lights, and finishing up the video board and working on lights at Boaz. And so really proud of our team. And there's never really a downtime anymore in this industry. But I'm grateful for it because we have a lot of opportunity here.
That's good to hear. I don't know if you noticed, my dad was a middle school athletic director. And, there was times where at night he'd come home really late for like scheduling events or working a basketball game. But your job is completely different. Kind of take me through an average day, like in the fall when football's kind of going and while basketball and soccer and all these other sports are going on.
Yeah. I mean, it ends up being quite a bit, but I depend on our team. I being an athletic director, you're overseeing 18 sport programs, a number of different departments, and 350 plus student athletes. And so daily, whatever I think my schedule is going to be like, it ends up changing. And I've embraced that this is a 24/7 lifestyle position. It is not your normal job per se, but that's something going in, and to me that's something that I appreciate. I like that every day looks different, and so when you look at the fall, I may think that we're preparing for an upcoming football game or the start of a basketball season, or I'm attending a volleyball match. But at the end of the day, something could rise with tennis. Something could rise with beach volleyball because they're traveling more in the fall. Even when you look at our sport programs, the difference between a fall and spring sport, there's not much difference anymore. Our beach volleyball is participating both in fall and spring. Men's and women's golf both fall and spring. Men's and women's tennis both fall and spring. So even volleyball, to a certain extent, they're scrimmaging a lot in the spring and have this spring season along with soccer. So there's a lot that goes into running a department, and you very much have to depend on your teammates, because I cannot be 18 different places. And my hope is our team feels empowered, that they're able to lead in their spaces, and my job is to protect and promote and really support them through that.
I mean, you think about all those sports, you think of like golf being a spring sport, but you also forget they're playing in the fall, and that just adds a lot more work to your plate, especially during, the whole year. And
It does, but there's also a lot of opportunity. Like, a big part of why I'm in this industry is the support that I have, or the support that my position provides our student athletes, and the connection that you and I have and other student athletes, that getting to see them perform and getting to be there for them in these moments. There's a lot of opportunity to do that now. And I appreciate that. And it really allows me to serve. And that's something that, hopefully our student athletes feel, and something I hold myself to a high standard.
Yeah. So you talked about how you build these connections with these athletes, and, being on the go the whole time. How does your relationship with your family, how does that work when you may have to have a pop-up meeting when you're with your kids, or certain things like that I know can be hard for a little one to fully understand the extent of, your job?
That's hard for me. It's something I have not perfected, and I'm not sure I'll ever be able to. This industry requires a lot, and I'm so grateful for Elizabeth and Emerson, Eli and Easton, for their patience and grace. I can't tell you how many times I'm at a dinner, or we're out of town together, or we're at a family function, that I have to step away because something has risen. And you try to find the balance. I don't necessarily believe in work-life balance. I believe in life and how I prioritize life. And my priorities are faith, family, and this job, and serving others. And as much as I try to hold myself to that standard, I fail daily. But there's always an opportunity the following day. And, it's something that my hope is, as I grow in this role and get more experience, and ultimately we build out our infrastructure, that it's going to maybe create more opportunity for me to fully connect. But, the job is the job, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, and my family is right there with me. And I'm grateful for that.
You seem like a very, very family-oriented guy. I remember seeing you in camp today. I walk up to, I don't remember, it's Easton or Eli, and you have a little handshake, little knuckles, and you kind of go like that.
Yeah.
Just tell us, you're a big family guy. Tell us a little bit about your past, like your family, like not your wife and your kids, but maybe your brothers and sisters that, you may have.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of four. And, being the firstborn, a lot was required. And my mom and dad, from a very young age, they supported me. They didn't miss games. They were at all practices. And I remember that. And my dad, fortunately, had a job that allowed that. And it's something that really created the foundation of who I am today. I wanted to be a father more than anything in my life. And, and finding someone like Elizabeth, who's a partner in this, and a teammate, and who I very much lean on to help me with some of the things I'm navigating, because I can't always be there. And sometimes she is the only parent. That's a lot of that comes from my mom and dad, and how they partnered and worked together. Being a dad and being a husband is hard. And, it's something that I'm continuing to grow and learn from, and, those around me, and what better way to learn is through how you were brought up, and the people that you surrounded yourself with, aunts, uncles, cousins. That was always a big part of our, or my life and my upbringing. And, I'm grateful for those people, because I've said it before, I'm not an outlier. I had a lot of people help me, and I still talk to my brother as much as I possibly can. I'm very close to him and my sisters. and everyone is in this different chapter of life, and it's hard because I can't always go home as much as I want to, but they're very patient and I, with me, and I know that they have my back, and I know that they love me for who I am, and it doesn't necessarily matter that I'm an athletic director or anything else. And, that's something I try to bring into my own family. And, that's the greatest part of seeing, Easton and Eli at camp today. We do have handshakes and we have signs that, because I'm either on the field or I'm on the court and maybe they're sitting somewhere else, where I want them to see me. And I want them to know that at every moment of my day, I'm thinking of them. And so it was really cool for me to take some time out of the day to go see Emerson at volleyball and Eli and Easton at basketball camp.
That's very cool. I think, growing up as kids, we look up to our parents as these, people that always raise us, and just those little things always matter the most. And I just remember my parents always taking me to basketball tournaments, football games, all that kind of stuff. And just having them there at, as many games as they can now, it just means the world, because they were at every game as a kid, and it's just harder as you grow up and they're not right there next to you.
I think it provides good perspective for me now, having 3 kids. I'm so grateful for my mom, and seeing what Elizabeth does, and my dad, see, me going from an event to a practice or to one of their games back to one of our events. I don't know if I fully understood what my mom and dad were doing for us, and how grateful I am now versus then when it was happening. And it's something I try to talk to my own kids about, that, especially when I'm not around as much. Elizabeth does an amazing job and is a wonderful mother to our 3 kids, and has to be, both parents sometimes. And, it's been kind of cool for me, especially as the kids get older and they're in more events and sports and dance and all the different things that they're doing, that I've been able to see and really relate to what my parents did for me. And it's very humbling, and I'm very grateful for that upbringing.
I know we had touched on like your siblings. That, where did you grow up and where did you attend college?
So born and raised El Paso, Texas. My siblings and family, everyone is back in El Paso. I went to the University of Texas at Austin, and I grew up in a Texas family. My grandfather, my grandmother, my uncle, a number of cousins went to the University of Texas. And so I knew I wasn't good enough to play at the next level. And, that was always my goal, was to go to UT, and very grateful for that path and what it taught me, and the people that were brought into my life through those experiences, and ultimately this career, and how, I was able to, get into a program that really, gave me purpose and really created that next chapter of life for me in terms of athletics. And so Austin was great. It was very different than what it is today. Now it's this massive city, but it was still somewhat of a college town then, and had a great time, probably too good of a time, but it was a good experience.
That's very cool. And I know we'll touch on like kind of your job history and where you came from, but I knew you were at Baylor. Was it ever kind of like a homecoming experience going to UT for certain events, or were you ever able to?
It was sort of, I'm extremely competitive, and having gone to UT and being a fan, early on in my career, it's still I followed them quite a bit. I would watch the games. I would still, it mattered to me. But as I grew in this industry, quite honestly, I saw what they had, and the schools that I was at didn't have that. And it, I somewhat had a chip on my shoulder, and fortunately I was at schools, the back half of my career at the University of Houston and Baylor, that we were competing with them for recruits. We were competing with them for fan base and for wins many times. And that's something that, people would always joke with me like, oh, we're playing Texas, and, are you cheering for them inside? And the reality is I hated them. I wanted to beat them more than I wanted to beat anyone else. And I think that just ties into my competitiveness. And so that's something that it was really cool, especially at Baylor, going to a football game, in a stadium that I was a student and sat in the student section, or that I was up in the press box working as an intern when I was in college, and to be on the field and to experience that, and as a representative of Baylor at that point, it was those games were always that much more emotional for me, and so I enjoyed it because I want to compete and I want to win.
I love hearing that as an athletic director. How did you get into the athletic department and become an athletic director? I know you had mentioned and you interned at UT. Just how did you kind of get into it? When did you know that you wanted to work in athletics? When was that turning point, that light bulb went off?
So it's an interesting story. I was enjoying Austin, as I said, and I was working on 6th Street, and at that point, I was going to take a break from school. I had changed my major a number of times, and I really didn't know what the next chapter of life was going to be for me. And I went home, and through my mom and my aunt, they had connections and very much cared about me more than I cared about myself at that point. And that's how I met Mac Rhodes, who's the athletic director at Baylor. He was, I think, an associate AD for development, very young in his career. But my mom, who happened to teach with his wife in El Paso, said, I want you to meet this guy. And I think he's a great guy, and I think he could help you. And it's amazing, my faith's important to me. It's amazing the people that God's put in my life. And, I had long hair and earrings, and you'd be shocked. I should bring a picture one day. I was living the Austin life, and I show up to this and actually worked a basketball camp. And it was through Mac that he was able to get me into this camp, and it allowed me to meet him. And I remember sitting down with him and saying, why did you choose this career? Because at that point, I was a fan. I had no idea. I just thought everyone showed up at the same time for a game. And I had no idea that there was this whole business behind, the fan facing aspect of our industry. And to see, to hear Mac say, why he chose administration over coaching, and why, the purpose and his why, and how he was able to impact lives and serve student athletes. And this, it wasn't just about winning. It was about the academics and really preparing student athletes for life. It resonated with me. And he told me at the end of that meeting, he said, if you ever need something or an internship, please let me know. And I went back to Texas, and my aunt, who ran Keep Austin Beautiful, she was connected in the UT athletics department. And through her, she introduced me to Chris Bonsky, who's well-known and one of the great administrators of my lifetime. She introduced me to her and was able to get me an internship in the marketing department there. And then my aunt was able to, because she was a sponsor, they were able to get me a paid internship through Longhorn Network, which was the equivalent of our Learfield. And I ran the signage at the men's and women's basketball and football games. So every time a sign turned on the field, it was me up in the press box or on the floor pushing a button and keeping track of how much time a sponsor got. And it was this introduction to this whole world that I just had no idea. And I changed my major, and the rest is history. Upon walking at the University of Texas, I needed 6 hours to graduate. And I called Mac and asked for an internship, and I went through the interview process and was able to get that internship. And it's amazing how things happen. And that was about 2.5 years prior. And so just the people that were put in my life and very much impacted that path, and really set me up for success, because I ended up following Mac from UTEP to Akron to University of Houston to Baylor. And I can never thank him enough, and the person that he is, and how he impacted me and the person that I became.
I have to ask, did he retire at Baylor, or is Mac still currently at Baylor?
He is still currently at Baylor.
Is that like a hard thing to kind of leave him as you followed him along, 10 plus years probably, and just, take that big step?
Yeah. I mean, you end up spending a lot of time with, because we work a lot, that he was family, is family. And, you're with someone for that long. It was almost like a breakup. We didn't talk a lot to each other when other than through the process here. I was calling him and getting his advice. But once I accepted the job, it's like we stopped talking. and it was uncomfortable and emotional, and you're so used to a certain way. And me, once again, having fear of becoming an AD, and I had never done it before, and can I do it, and am I enough? And him, I had been that rock for him, I think, in many ways, that he could always vent to me. I was the person that he came to for everything. And not that he needed me for anything, but just to listen. And, I did not see him before I left. There was about a 6 month time period that I ended up seeing him, much later. And it was good. And he's someone I try to talk to every week and try to reach out to. And I love him. He's more family than anything. And I'm not here today without him.
It's a very cool story. And I'm glad you guys are still in touch, because I know that's probably a very hard thing to, go from being that rock to, not talking at all. And so,
yeah, I learned a lot from him. There's not a thing that I navigate here that I don't think about what he would do or what he did do when I was with him. And, just how he processed, and his work ethic and commitment to his staff, his student athletes and their supporters. It's, you have all these people over the course of time that pour into you, and I'm always watching and trying to take, everything I possibly can from someone, to help me. And he's one of those people I continuously go back to of thinking through moments in time where he had to navigate something uncomfortable, or he had to navigate, success or failure, that how he approached it. It made an impact on me.
It's very cool. So now we're going to kind of transition into more Boise State. It was great learning about your history. I'm sure people love learning about you and learning about all of our guests. So I'm going to kind of transition to more Boise State type questions. So now you're an athletic director. What's the hardest part about being an athletic director? I know there's a lot that goes into it, but what's the hardest part?
That's a good question. It's always having to be on. It's, sometimes you feel like you can't be human, and I have good and bad days, like everyone. And I have pressures of life and kids and wife. And, but I hold myself to a high standard of being what others can't be at that moment. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily create the space for you to be human. And, and that's something I'm still navigating. I see everything as an opportunity. And a lot of that is my own pressure that I put on myself. And I think a lot of that ties into, I say yes a lot, and I'm still learning to say no, appropriately. And that can be hard. I want to be the best husband and father and that I can be. And I want to be an elite athletic director, and I'm not there yet, but, I know I'm always a work in progress, and, but balancing, what you're trying to be for everyone else. And that, that can weigh on you sometimes, but I also think that's where I've really poured into our team and depended on our team and empowered them, because, I know I'm only as good as those around me. And I'm very grateful and fortunate because we have an amazing team.
It's very, very cool. You talked about saying yes too much. Is there a time where a coach will come to you and ask for more money and you have to say no? Are there times where you actually say yes because you do that so much, or is it kind of a hard line, right, with money?
Resources are always a challenge. I believe there's always a solution. And so it's never fully a no. But there's always a path forward. And sometimes it's no for now. Let's figure out X, Y, or Z and buy me some time to whether we go fundraise, whether we monetize the department differently. There's always a solution. And that's something that I think our staff has really embraced. And it's part of me being my authentic self. I owe that to our team and Bronco Nation and overall. And, I know we need to continue to invest, and I very much trust and appreciate our coaches, because I see the pressure they're under and I see what they need to compete at the highest level, which directly impacts you and our student athletes. And so, I'm not usually telling a coach no. I'm telling a whole team. I'm telling a program. I'm telling, however many student athletes that program has. And there's always a method to the madness. And so, we pride ourselves on finding solutions, and but it's not always a yes. It just, I may ask for time, and I think that ties into our vision. I think that ties into the direction of the department and how we're trying to professionalize and monetize our operations, because every dollar we bring in, we're reinvesting back into this program, and we're holding each other accountable to that. And I appreciate that.
You talked about your authentic self, and as most Boise State fans know, you're very, very open on Twitter. Is there a particular reason why you're so open on Twitter about what's going on? Do you just want people to know? Is there a reason for fundraising, so you're more open so that people can see the vision? What's kind of your reason for openness?
I think it's a combination of that, and one, I'm a bad liar, which is a good thing. I think, being the athletic director of a brand like Boise State, I represent something so much bigger than myself. And, my openness directly ties into what I hope is buy-in from our fan base and buy-in from our staff and student athletes. And I think that's important. I don't want to operate in silos. I want everyone to understand there's a method to our madness, and there's strategy behind every decision, and that we recognize certain things. A lot of my openness comes from really areas that maybe we fail at or make mistakes on, and I want Bronco Nation in general to know I see it, and I'm fully aware of it, and we collectively see it as a team, and we're going to get better. We're not a finished product. We are not perfect. We are human, and we're going to get better. And I've found that the more honest I am and the more transparent I am about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and where we're going, the more buy-in we've gotten. And I think people appreciate that, because sometimes as athletic directors, you think too highly of yourself in regards to this title. And quite honestly, I'm still struggling with what that title means to me. I don't feel any different. I very much depend on a team, and I just happen to be the leader of that team. And, I don't want this job to define me. I want to make sure that I am my authentic self, and that I am showing up and doing my personal and serviceable best, and understanding that may not always be enough. But that's okay. As long as we're continuing to improve, and I continue to get buy-in as the person leading the department, I think the future is very bright.
Yeah, that's very, very, very cool to hear, just how open you are. And I think it's very cool how you interact with the fans. I think, seeing the kind of the side of it with my parents being fans now that I'm here, and interacting with those fans, and just being able to see how open you are and how you communicate with them. I think it's very cool that a person of your nature and high power of being the athletic director is able to communicate, everything across, and just get everyone on board and get everyone towards one goal.
Yeah, it's something that, like I said, it's paid dividends. And I think it's opened us up to really our foundation as Bronco Nation. And I think, it takes a team, and you've heard me say that before. And I don't care if you're a $1 million donor and you've seen a lot of success from a fundraising side, or if you're a ticket holder or just a t-shirt fan. I mean, they all matter to me, and they all make a difference, and they all help us achieve these goals that we've defined for ourselves. And so I take responsibility for that. And to me, that's an easy way for us to continue to tell our story, and hopefully humanize the things that we're doing and the why behind it. And I've seen, our staff really embrace that to a certain extent, and realizing sometimes it causes problems for my team because I'm out in front of certain things, or I say something on Twitter that we haven't necessarily announced, but it's coming from a good place. I want to be transparent, and I want people to know that what you see is what you get, and this is the why behind it.
Kind of beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you about if there's ever been a time where you may have said something on Twitter that wasn't, out in the open, or you weren't supposed to tweet. Is there a certain story that comes to mind when we talk about that?
There's probably a handful of stories. One specific is, when BYU had to get out of our contract in regards to playing in football, and I had said something publicly, being transparent, and I had gotten quite a few questions on it, that we had not officially announced that. And it wasn't doom or gloom. BYU was great and think very highly of their athletic director, and he's been very helpful to me as a new AD. But my intent was not to cause problems, or I obviously wanted them to tell their story, and there are a lot of moving pieces to what we're doing, and so. But I know that caused a little more work for my team, and so I feel bad about that. But that's one example that, most of the time it's not detrimental, right? We have very specific reasons and strategies for when we tell our story and why, and it could be around other things that we're about to announce, or, we're trying to promote said sport, or we're trying to promote season tickets for that sport. And so we try to be extremely strategic with that. And sometimes I get out in front of, my skis a little bit, because, I want to share, and I want people to buy in, and I want them to understand, what we're doing. But in general, my team has, I think, shows me a lot of grace, and very much prepares me. And as I still learn, I think we're getting to a better place where I'm doing that a lot less, which is probably helpful for them.
That's good. Yeah, I figured there's times when people are too open and it causes chaos, and, being the authentic self you are, it may end up doing that. So I know you'd mentioned BYU, and we see them transition to the Big 12, and we hear news about San Diego State wanting to move conferences. Yeah. Will it be the last time I play San Diego State this upcoming year, or can you comment on that?
Well, at this point, there's been a lot going on, obviously, and a lot of it's playing out on social media. I can't say that it's the last time that you would play them. I think there's a lot yet to be determined in terms of the most recent announcements and things that obviously we don't control. But, as it comes to realignment, there's a specific way that we've told our story, and I'm not going to apologize for who we are. I very much appreciate it, and I'm here because of it. And I think that the future is extremely bright for us, and everything happens for a reason. And I think I know that this is just part of the process, and everything is still ahead of us. And we're going to continue to chop wood and best position ourselves and invest appropriately and continue to tell our story. And that excites me, because there's still so much low hanging fruit here. So whether San Diego State's in our conference or not at some point, I tend to concern myself with what I can control. And that's how I serve you. And that's how I serve this department and serve Bronco Nation. And that's that relentless mentality that we have embraced, that we are not finished, and we are going to continue to grind forward, and we will create our own path and define our own expectations. And we can still compete at the highest of levels. And you all have shown that in basketball, and we've shown it in a number of other sport programs. And to me, that creates opportunities for us that the future is bright.
That's very good to hear. We only have time for about 2 more questions. The first one I'm going to ask is, people in the Twitter community in Boise State don't fully understand the market value, or how, we're not able to be looked at by Power 5 conferences compared to San Diego State and UNLV and all these. Is there a certain way you can dumb it down for us people that don't fully understand? Because I don't even know if I fully understand.
Well, shockingly, I'm not sure I fully understand it, because I know what the data states. I know that we're tops in viewership. I know that we're tops in success. When you look at specifically from a football standpoint, which a lot of these decisions are being made around, I see who we compare to nationally, and we have been consistently the top, non-autonomous 5 or group of 5 school. And that's something to be very proud of. And that's something I am proud of as the leader of Bronco Nation. And so the data is telling one story. And then, you have this other side that, it seems like the market or maybe location is more of a priority. And And I can talk to 10 people and get 5 different answers, or 10 different answers on what they're looking for and why. And I think ultimately these decisions are made at a much higher level. And what we're finding is athletic directors and presidents in some cases, have very little control over this outcome. And, I think our market, when you look at the amount of growth since 2000, 21% growth in the Treasure Valley in general, and what Boise is today is not going to be what it is tomorrow. And to me, that's the opportunity for us. We get to define our own expectations and still compete on a national level and still take the best brand in this, with those that we're competing with, and we're going to do something epic with it. And that's something I hold myself accountable to in this department. And that's what's been really cool going through this process in 2.5 years, how much change we've actually been able to go through that is very much impacting, our current success and what the future holds for us. And that's where I have not lost hope or faith, or I'm more excited today than I was when I arrived. And I see it play out. I see how hard you all work. I see our coaches and our donors and how they're stepping up, and our collective team and how everyone's here supporting each other and locking arms. And I think there's something really cool and powerful about that. And that's something that gives me a lot of hope that we are not a finished product and the future is still very bright.
So it's very good to hear. I think that, probably alleviates some stresses that people may have about us not being able to move, and it's kind of out of your hands. So I guess we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. So the final question I have, it's a question I ask every single one of our guests on the show. My signature question. It's who in your life has made the biggest impact on you besides your close family and friends? It's a question that my parents and I kind of came up with, and just to kind of get to know you, more on a personal level, which is ultimately the goal of this show.
So 2 people, my wife, and I know you said family, but watching her and navigate because of my, job and how she continuously shows up to serve. And that's something that I'm very grateful for. And I've learned so much from her, because it isn't easy. And then we talked about Mac. Mac's someone that I was able to follow and watch from a very young age to present day, and see how he approaches things, and how, I remember at UTEP someone telling me, because I was an intern, I didn't really have this access to him. If I ended up in his office, it wasn't for a good reason, right? Like, that was not something you wanted to do. But I remember walking the halls with him and people talking about the impact that he had on him, and how he didn't, whether you were a custodian, whether you were a head coach, anyone in between, the person doing the lawn outside, he knew everyone's name, and he made them feel important. And, that's something that I took from him, and how he treated people, and then ultimately see him grow into his role. And as a young AD and a first time AD to his time at Houston, and to be able to see what he was able to do, it left an imprint on my heart. And then, the third, I said 2, but the third is Hunter Yurchek, the AD at Arkansas. My goal was always to take the best of everyone around me and try to make it my own and be my authentic self. And to see someone like Hunter that was able to very productively and efficiently balance his faith, his family, and his job. And I'll never forget, he was the AD at University of Houston. Mac had left to Missouri, and Hunter got in front of the football team, which was very difficult. And Tom Herman was the head coach, and Hunter got up in front of him and said his son at that point was a student athlete at Marshall and a very good tight end. And Hunter said, guys, I'm not going to be at every game because my son will be playing. And you all may care today, but you won't care 2 years from now, but my son will care for the rest of his life. And that, even saying it, gives me chills. Like, you don't see a lot of ADs that are willing to say something like that. And it just showed you the man Hunter was and is. And his commitment to his family. And, it really impacted me that at that moment, because I didn't have kids of my own, of when, God willing, I had kids, that I could be just as committed, and that this job doesn't define us. This isn't who I am. It's what I do. But I am a father. And so it's those moments in time and those people around you that pour into you, and whether they know it or not, that you're watching. That was important to me at that point in that time in my life. I hope that I live up to expectations, and that my kids one day remember me for the times that I was there, and that's the work that I did to be everything I could for them.
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. I think that provides a lot of insight just on how much you have to balance with being an athletic, or a father, a husband, just trying to balance all those things. And you said it great with just how you kind of tied it in together. So I guess I have one more question.
Okay.
How did I do?
You did great. Well, I was more stressed talking to you than I when I talked to BJ. No, you did a great job. I know these I'm still getting used to this, the conversation, and that's something as an aspiring AD, you don't really get a lot of experience doing. And so you did a great job.
Well, thank you. So that's it for this interview with Jeramiah Dickey. So thanks again for joining the show, and hope to talk to you very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There he is, Jeramiah Dickey. Awesome interview, Tyson. We're getting a lot of good comments coming in. Let us know what you thought of the interview. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, we can take your comments. Let us know what you think. How did Tyson do? I think it was a big improvement from episode 1 to episode 2. I thought it was some good questions, Tyson. How do you think it went, man?
I think it went pretty well. He's very, very easy to talk to, and he provided some great insight that I hope that all of you could learn from, and just to know that, we have a guy working for our university that's doing everything in his power to make it the best, situation possible. So really happy to get that out there, and hope you guys enjoyed.
Now, Rudy just made a comment. I'm going to see if I can pick this up here real quick. Hold on a second. Rudy just commented, he was joking, Tyson Nation News, because you're doing such a good job here. Rudy was the winner, Tyson, of the wedge. We have a sand wedge right here from Callaway. It was one of the 2 prizes we were giving away for your celebrity shot at the golf tournament. And he was we drew somebody for the driver. We had a secondary prize for the wedge. The only problem is Rudy is left-handed, and this is a right-handed wedge. But Rudy, I would like to let you know live on the Tyson Degenhart Show here that I have talked to Kelly Christensen at Timberstone Golf Course, and they're willing to trade it for a left-handed wedge. So, Rudy, you're going to get a left-handed wedge. That probably doesn't surprise you, Tyson, that Kelly's willing to figure out a way to help him out.
Oh, Kelly's a great guy out at Timberstone, so if you ever look into golf, make sure you go out there, go support. He's been a great guy to work with. He helps BJ put on the golf tournament each year. So it's a great spot to golf, a very, very nice course, and get great bang for your buck out there. Yes,
you do. So, Rudy, I'll be in touch with you. We'll get you the left-handed wedge from the tournament. Nathaniel says, solid interview. I mean, solid. It was better than solid. Come on, Nathaniel. That's all you got for us is solid. Tyson is going to give you a run for your money doing interviews after he graduates. I think Tyson's going to be playing basketball for a long time after he graduates, but maybe 15, 20 years after that, Tyson, you can come for my job. But Southwest 678 says, great job, Tyson. Sam says, great interview, Tyson. Super enlightening. Holly Cook, love you, dudes. I hope I'm going to assume she means us dudes, not you and Jeremiah, but who knows? Dayton says, heck of an interview, Tyson. Rudy agrees that Kelly is a good guy, but he also is talking a little trash here, Tyson. He says his shot on 17 was closer than yours.
I don't remember how my shot did on that hole, so I can't comment on that.
Well, you had 31 chances or whatever it was, so that was a fun day, though. No, it wasn't. I just delivered the check for $8,150 to Idaho Central Credit Union, or I went to Idaho Central Credit Union, got the check, and delivered it to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission and our friend Tim Brady. And so I was happy that we were able to donate the money to them. I got to ask you, Tyson, you asked the question about San Diego State. There's a lot of talk in the news about what might happen. They might be leaving. What's it like for you as a player, man? I mean, Viejas Arena is one of the best spots to go to every year. I'm trying to think if you've won there. You've won there at least once in your last 2 years, right?
Yeah, it was our 12th win of the win streak.
Your freshman year. That's right. That was a great game. Shaver hit a shot late. Just from your perspective as a student athlete, man, San Diego State, it feels like the Mountain West is where they need to be, but it looks like they might be leaving. I mean, what's that like potentially thinking about not going to Viejas Arena every year?
It's definitely something weird to think about. It's definitely one of the coolest venues to go to, just having that big bowl of seats around and just having, all those incredible players come through. And so, it's going to be interesting to just kind of see what happens. If they do leave, best wishes to them. They're obviously a great program, and they proved that this year with themselves making the national championship in basketball, and they also made the super regionals in softball. So they're definitely, put their best foot forward when it comes to athletics, and they put themselves on a national stage. And if they can move up conferences, I don't blame them. There's a lot of money out there in the Power 5 conferences. So, we'll just have to wait and see how things kind of unfold over the next couple of years.
I mean, that's got to be up there for you in terms of one of your favorite venues to go visit. I mean, the Pit was rocking. The Pit last year when you guys played there was, I mean, you had every chance to win that game. You obviously had a huge second half and overtime. You were dealing with the 4 fouls, which obviously hurt in overtime. I know you started on the bench and Mo started that overtime, which kind of led to you guys falling in overtime, unfortunately, the foul trouble there, but you had the big bucket late, the 3-pointer, obviously, but the Pit for me last year was this is my 10th year, Tyson. It's crazy. I'm not that old, but it was my 10th season covering Boise State basketball. And I've been to every venue and every game multiple times and over the last decade plus. And that was right up there, man. It was top 2 or 3, maybe the loudest place I've ever been. I mean, just a random possession in the first half. They were just going crazy and standing, and it was a super loud venue. But other than that, I can remember the one time when San Diego State had Malachi Flynn, and they were ranked really high. There's been some years there. I mean, obviously the Viejas Arena is usually rocking. So, and then it's San Diego, man. That's my favorite trip. Of course, you get to go to the beach and hang out, and it's one of the best hotels on the road there with the pool and stuff. So yeah, it would just be weird not playing San Diego State every year, man.
Yeah, it's just one of those teams they always look forward to playing because they've been so good over the last, however many years, and they have since like kind of Fisher retired and Dutcher's kind of taken over. They've really taken their program to another height, like, with Kawhi Leonard making Sweet 16s and that kind of stuff. And then they go to a national championship game. I mean, that's just incredible. And just to play a caliber opponent like that twice a year is just awesome experience for us. And hopefully we can continue to play them and just get us more battle tested for March when it comes around.
Now, Bronco Nation Update says here, favorite question was the subtle mention of San Diego State. That was crafted like a pro, Tyson. Should I out you or not? I mean, I may or may not have given you a little bit of advice on how to ask that question there.
It was definitely you who wrote the way it was supposed to be formed. VJ was definitely the one who said, like, is this my last time going to play at San Diego State? So,
now, you brought up realignment. I mean, you do your homework. You put the whole list together. 99.9% of the questions are yours, but I do give a little bit of editorial feedback or executive advice, I guess, heading into the interview. And I did mention you might get a funnier answer or a better answer if you mention it. Is this the last time I'm playing him? So you did go with that, and he laughed right away. That was a pretty good answer by him too, as well. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting with San Diego State. What happens there? I mentioned all the guys being back in town, Tyson, the individual workouts underway. I mean, Coach Rice is gone right now, obviously, in Hungary with the under-19 team. So give our fans the insight here, the update. What are you guys doing? You have the camp in the morning, but I know you're doing some individual workouts. Are the coaches allowed to be with you? What players are with you? What are you guys doing right now?
We're allowed to do like small group workouts. So you kind of split them up into like guards and bigs, and you're able to have like Coach Dury, Coach Burns, and Berto all there, and it, even without Coach Rice here, we have so much experience on our staff, and our experience is just incredible, and they know so much about the game. And even with Coach Rice not here, we're going to be in a great spot once he comes back, and hopefully we'll hit the ground run once he comes back.
When you mentioned Omar Stanley in the beginning, for folks that missed it at the beginning of the show, right away you said Bronco Nation's going to love this guy.
He's going to be great. He's like, I don't want to compare him to Naj because Naj was his special player, but he's his own version of himself, and he's very, very athletic, can make those blocks like Naj, and can go up and catch an alley-oop and stuff like that. So should be a very exciting player to watch come November.
Well, we're really excited. What do we got coming up in the future episodes here? We're hoping for Marlene Tromp, episode 3. We're going to have, unfortunately, we're doing this every 2 weeks, Tyson, but the 2 weeks falls on the 4th of July, so we're going to push it back a week. But we have 2 episodes coming up in July. Marlene Tromp, episode 3. Tyson Degenhart interviewing Talon Green is the goal in episode 4. If we can pull both those off, those will be pretty good episodes, right?
Yeah, we've lined up a pretty good 4 to start out the show, and I'm really excited and hoping that we can get to talk to both Dr. Trump and Talon, just keeping our fingers crossed and just hoping that we can make it work somehow.
Holly wants to know what players do you still stay in contact with that have moved on? Armouche or Abu Kijab, or any players from the last year or 2 that have moved on? You still stay in touch with anybody?
I've definitely tried to stay in touch. It's, with everyone kind of everywhere. It's, one of those things where you check up every once in a while. I've talked to Mladen, talked to Abu, I've talked to E-Man. I talked to Pavle, these
How
guys.
about Lucas Milner signing in Australia, man?
That was very exciting to see. Just really happy for him. He's just one of those guys that, is still kind of, growing into the player that he's going to become, and he's going to be a great pro, and he, approaches his work the right way, and he'll be very, very successful. And so I'm hoping to see about Shaver and Naj and just seeing where they'll end up. And it's just very, very exciting to see, all these guys go pro and just play somewhere, because there's only so many people that play pro basketball. And I know there's a bunch of different countries that have it, but at the same time, you got to realize it's hard to play basketball for a job. Like, you're in a different country in some cases, and you're living alone, and it's just a completely different experience. So really happy for Lucas, and I'm hoping to see Shaver and Naj find their own spot as well, especially, and E-Man as well.
Shout out to Brian King, basketball alum at Boise State. I talked to him today, and he's actually the one, he deserves the credit, that put that Australian team, put Lucas Milner on the radar for them. They were looking for a player, and he had played, Brian King actually played Tyson for the same team in Australia back in the day, and was still in contact with them, and was able to let them know that, hey, man, take a look at this guy, Lucas Milner. He's got a big upside. And but he cut his hair, man. I didn't recognize him in the picture.
He definitely cut his hair. I think it's a good look. Something just changes. Like, I know when I cut my hair, it was kind of the end of the high school and start of college. So I just think it's, a great look for him, and excited just to see what he can do.
Chase saying that 4th episode with Talon Green will be, quote, banger. Yeah, it'll be a good one. We're looking forward to that episode 4. That'll be late July, and if it works out, Tyson, it's going to be like a week before training camp starts. So really looking forward to that one. Marlene Tromp, Bill wants to see Marlene Tromp and Talon Green race in a 100-yard dash here, a 100-meter run, Tromp and Green. How would you do against Talon Green in a 100-yard dash?
I'd lose pretty easily. He is very fast, and I just don't think I can compete with that speed.
We joke about lean feast, but are you trying to lean up a little bit this year, man? I know you played a lot more in the post and played the 5 a lot last year. I mean, what are you trying to do in terms of your position and your weight, and what you're expecting to do, in terms of your position moving forward here?
Well, we got some great guys that can play the 5, so I hopefully will not have to play that. And so I'm just trying to slim down a little bit. I know Prater joked about me being getting a little more streamlined after the season, and it was funny joking with him at the golf tournament and asking about it. And he actually said I looked more streamlined, so that was good to hear. And so just working on making sure my body's ready to go this upcoming season, and just trying to make sure I'm the best leader I can be with our team, and just keep improving my game each and every day.
Well, hey, man, awesome job. Episode 2. We appreciate your time. We appreciate Idaho Central Credit Union. Again, ICCU.com. Check them out. More than 550,000, over 500,000 folks have made the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union. You can too by visiting iccu.com. And again, we appreciate them for making this happen. Safe travels back up to Spokane. Good luck with the Hoop Fest this weekend. The Idaho Central Credit Union is helping you do that, so that's going to be an exciting weekend for you, Tyson. And again, we appreciate this show is only possible thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union. And again, they're one of the major sponsors of Bronco Nation News. So frankly, we only have Bronco Nation News and all the road trip coverage and everything we get to do thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union. So we appreciate them and thank them, and hope that next time you're looking for a new bank or looking to switch your bank, that you'll make the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union because again, they're the best in the business. It's just so easy, friendly staff, and the easy part, Tyson, is they're pretty much at every corner. Everywhere you look, you find an ICCU location. So make the switch today. Get more information, iccu.com. Tyson, you're 2 for 2. Awesome job again. We appreciate it, man. Nice work. We'll see you at camp tomorrow. Be a little harder on Naismith, man. You're coaching him up, in terms of the size of your coach for the team here. I know he missed the shot yesterday, but day 3 of camp tomorrow. We'll see you there for that. And then again, best of luck this weekend with Hoop Fest. But you're 2 episodes in, man. You're a show host. You're a podcast host. You felt a little more relaxed tonight, right?
Yeah, just the first time is kind of nerve-wracking because you just don't know what to expect. And so now I have an idea of kind of how things are going to roll, and it puts me more at ease knowing I've done it before and knowing that I can do it. So it definitely helps, having that experience. And so just hoping to keep improving each and every episode and just give you guys a great insight on our guests and just have a great time and learning about each other. So.
By the way, hope to see a lot of you tomorrow night. The football team is doing a softball game over at Hawks Memorial Stadium. Somehow, Tyson, I got selected as one of the celebrity umpires, so I'll be umpiring the game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Jay Tust will be there, some of our friends in the media, but I'll be umpiring the game. Can I throw out Talon Green in the first inning? Would people be okay with that or no?
Probably not. It's probably not the guy you want to toss in the first inning. I'd like to see him, on the base path scoring like a score from first base on a single, like a little blooper single. But that should be a fun event. I'm hoping I might be able to make it out tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, you could be maybe. You know what? They would, if you could make it out, they would probably throw you in the home run derby. We could have a celebrity home run derby participant, Tyson Degenhart, Joe Nickel. We could make this happen. If you could be there by 5:30, you could be I guarantee you, we could put you in the home run derby. We need to make this. Can I text Joe Nickel right now that you're available? Could you be there in time?
Let me look.
Can you get there by 5:30 tomorrow? Home run derby. Can we throw Tyson Degenhart in the mix? Come on, we got to make that happen.
I think I could probably. I just want to hit one over the fence. Like
they bring the fences in, dude. It's like the dimensions are like the Donna Larson Park fences. You could certainly. I think you could pull it off. I'm going to text Joe when we get off here and see if we can pull it off. But either way, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow night with your family, it's $5 for tickets. It's affordable. It helps the collective, which I know is doing some things, Tyson, for you as well. So come on out, support your local student athletes. We'll be at Hawks Memorial Stadium. Home run derby at 5:30. The game is at 6:30, a softball game. Offense versus defense. You might see Tyson Degenhart in the home run derby. Who knows? But come on out. We'd love to see him. Tyson, we'll do this again in 3 weeks with Marlene Tromp. We appreciate you as always, man. And again, seriously, nice work. And you're improving, man. That's the goal, right? You just want to get better. And I thought you were much smoother in your delivery and things tonight. So I want to say publicly, nice work, man. Congrats. And let's do it again in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Excited to, keep doing this, and hope to see you all on the show in 3 weeks. So
there he is.
I'll talk to you then.
Tyson Degenhart, Boise State basketball star. Again, thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you soon. Again, episode 3, Marlene Tromp coming up in early July. We got Talon Green coming up after that. Have a great rest of your evening. This is the Tyson Degenhart Show. My name's BJ Rains. He's Tyson Degenhart. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.